Feel your body already starting to relax and release. Feeling increasingly comfortable, increasingly willing through the body and through the mind to travel in toward our beautiful class today, to move our bodies, to be with all sorts of opening things, opening the body, the side ribs, the spine, aiming eventually toward our side crow today. Now, the biggest thing that I can encourage as we're traveling in toward this beautiful pose and toward this beautiful class is presence of body and presence of mind. Our mind is constantly trying to check in with ourselves, asking ourselves, how am I doing? In what ways do I want to be challenged? In what ways am I doing great? In what ways can I breathe into the stretches? And in what ways do I need to back off of certain poses? And so in this way, it's constantly a feedback, constantly a check-in, trying to be with our body, trying to experience the best quality class for our body, whether or not that looks like what anybody else is doing today. So with checking in with ourselves over and over and over again, with this idea to lead us on, let's start off taking knees into chest. There's this idea sometimes, as we're rocking around on the hips, just let that low back loosen. Sometimes people will tend to get numb from their bodies and not even realize it. A good example would be eating and realizing you didn't even taste anything that you just ate. Everything was just kind of the habit rather than really being in this moment. So that's our invitation today. Now the first thing we're gonna do is allow the knees from being bent in to twist all the way over to the left side. We're trying to keep our shoulders very grounded, nice and open, and really feel what is allowed to open in this stretch for you. So see if you can gaze over the right fingers, getting the neck involved. Feel the shoulders, especially that right one, connecting to the earth. And feel how the body responds to the twist. What areas are tight? What areas can be opened? What areas take a little bit more space, a little bit more time and patience here. Feeling our breath breathe into the belly. And then the next exhale will bring our knees up to float. Cross them over to the second side, heading into the twist. Let the head gaze over that left side for the twist. Already opening for us. Stretching out in a really good, very kind way. Now the ability to do side crow does depend on the body twisting as well as building strength through the core and strength through the abdomen. And so as we're heading into class, you'll notice different times that we're really trying to work on strengthening low back, but also working on twisting and opening the spine. And so as we're here, let's allow ourselves to take the knees up. We're going to plant our feet to the ground, taking a few bridge poses to help warm up our back muscles already. So hands are on the floor by the hips. Let's roll up our hips and then one vertebrae at a time, and then roll all the way back down. And today we're gonna take 10 of those nice and slow like that, just to help those muscles have a chance to contract, strengthen, and release. So here's 8. Following that breath, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. As the hips are turned down, bring the knees back over the hips. Feet are at the nice 90-degree angle. Arms open out to each side. And let's start strengthening through some of the oblique muscles. So with a nice inhale, we pass the knees halfway down to one side. The exhale will take us back through the center. Really use the exhale as a contraction to initiate the movement. So it's not so much just momentum tilting to one side and tilting to the other. It's almost like an inhale, pause, exhale, contract to bring it back. And that way we're helping to strengthen some of those muscles while they're being elongated. So nice inhale, exhale. Here we'll take 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Dropping the feet down to the ground. They can be a little bit wider than hips. Take a few nice windshield wipers, knees going left and right. It starts to loosen up the hip joint area just a bit. Maybe once more to each side. Okay, and then from here, on our backs, what we're going to try to do is, it's almost like a crunch, but when we crunch in, we're trying to touch the elbows onto the side of our right thigh, and then inhale, set everything back down. Exhale, touch onto the side of the left thigh, and inhale back down. This is helping not only to strengthen, but also to help us twist and reach. Sometimes that's the hardest thing of side crow, is that deep connection, that deep twist that gets us all the way to the side. So just keep the breath going, inhales and exhales. Let's take 2 more to each side. And 1. Amazing. As the feet go back to the ground, let right leg stretch up to the sky. Hold on to the back side of the leg. Just give it a kind little stretch, helping things get longer and longer as we're warming up into our class. Breath's already flowing for us. Body's feeling open. Let's take this right leg, right ankle onto left thigh, setting up in the triangle shape for the hip opener. Let's ease our way deeper into the hip as we release our hands. The right thigh crosses more tightly over the left thigh. We either hold on from there at the knees, that would be slightly easier, or slide down to each ankle and then pull that gently in. Just feel how the hip connections are getting even deeper. Nice opening, nice expansion. Okay, as we start to release our hands, the thighs stay crossed like this, and we allow ourselves to take another little twist, both knees falling over to the left. Notice how with the cross, we're able to open up through the side body, perhaps even deeper than before. Just feel the spine getting more and more used to twisting. Beautiful. Unwind everything, set the right foot down to the ground, and left leg will stretch all the way upward to the sky. Hold on to the back side of it for that hamstring opener. Left ankle to right thigh. Hug around right side. And as the hands release, flip the thigh even deeper on top so that we can grab onto the knees or grab onto each ankle. Maybe as we relax into it after a few breaths, there's a chance to hold in even deeper than we started with. And as we release, keep the thigh crossed, we tilt the knees to the right. Feel the hip, feel the ribs, feel the side body. All of this is opening up super deeply for us. Another beautiful inhale. And exhale, hips around the ground. Uncross the legs. And let's let ourselves roll like a ball a few times. Let's go for 5. And back. 4. 3. 2. This last one, try to stay up in a boat pose. If you need hands to help you as we do the next movement, they can help switching between one side and the other. Otherwise, what we're trying to do is extend the toes out a little bit and then touch the elbows onto the right thigh again. It's hard in the balance. You have to extend out. Exhale, touch the left thigh. So similar to what we were doing, just a slightly more core work here. Let's go for 5. You can keep the toes on the ground too and work on the torso crunching. So that'd be another way to do this. And here's 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Good, you've earned a good little cobbler. Let the thighs just open. Spine gets to relax up and over. Rise up enough that the feet can scoot slightly forward of where they are. And then as we go back down, place a hand onto each knee. What we're going to do is start to straighten the right arm. That'll shift the nose over the left knee. So go super slow to get to that side, and then eventually bring your way back through the center and switch sides, straightening the left arm. What this is helping to do is elongate those muscles on the low back. So it's when we're straightening the right arm, we're elongating the right low back muscles, and vice versa. So let's go once more, nice and slow to each side. When you finish, we're rolling up. Pick up the knees, they're coming together. You're either going to do this pose from feet on the ground or again trying to balance in the boat pose. This time our hands are stacked on top of each other and we're going to try to just muscularly twist the torso as far to one side as we can go and then as far to the other. Good, so feet down or feet floating, your choice. Use the exhale for the twist. Inhale back. Three. And 2, and 1. Good. Keep your right foot tucked in, the left leg gets to go long now. Let's hook the left hand or the left elbow around that right knee to head into a nice twist. Continuing to open up the spine to this possibility of twisting. So think of trying to straighten the spine as much as possible. And then rotate through that straight, stacked spine from there. Good, as we unwind, drop this right thigh down. Inhale, we'll circle arms up to the sky. Exhale, a nice forward fold. From here, as we're staying low, try to bring both hands to the outside of that left leg. And without lifting up sitting bones, see how far the hands can walk off to that left side. It's helping to bring that spine into a good twist. Maybe the right elbow is able to come close to the outer part of the left knee. Maybe left elbow can slide in close to the hip. Just continuing to get our body closer and closer into this side crow shape. Good. Walk the hands back through the center. And just to help open up the spine to the other direction, start walking off to that right side. This one will be much easier. You'll feel that release in the low back, maybe slight opening through the hip. Another good inhale and exhale. Walk the hands back in. Switch the legs out with the left foot planted, knee floating first. Hook the right hand or the right elbow. Let's set up for that twist. Use your nice inhale to lengthen. Exhale to help spiral across that long fold. Another beautiful inhale. And exhale as we release. Drop this left thigh down. Inhale, circle up. And release over. Begin to bring both hands to the outer part of right leg. And start to walk your hands as far over to that right side as you can without lifting up either hip. Maybe the left elbow slides in close to the knee. Maybe the right elbow close to the hip. Poses like this are a good indicator that we've got the flexibility for the side crow. So already know if this is difficult, this is the phases that we work on to build up to it. Just continuing to elongate those side ribs. Let's take 2 more breaths in this spot. And then start to walk the arms forward and all the way to the left. Feel that nice relief in the low back. Good, and as we go back forward, let's roll our spine up. We'll come onto knees. Let's continue to open up our spine with some cat-cows. Helping the whole spine to round up and down. Don't feel any rush. As we're doing some of these twists, it creates some space in the vertebrae. And so if we rush too much, we might be kind of wiggling the spine rather than helping it to elongate and continue its deep expression. So we're nice and slow with our breath. Just feel what your body wants you to move at. Find that presence. And last cycle after this current. So take that nice exhale. Inhale. And spine back to flat. Here we're going to play with some of the strength aspects. So in side crow, we have to be able to kind of hold ourselves in a chaturanga shape. So either with knees staying on the ground or with knees lifting, let's try to hold for a count of 10 in a chaturanga. So we rock forward, hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just drop. Good job. Amazing. Allowing the arms to take just a gentle shoulder stretch. Lift your torso up enough that the right arm can cross underneath you. And just kind of lower down onto that nice shoulder. Couple breaths here. And unwind to the right. Take that left into the same cross. And as we unwind here, plant each hand directly into the shoulders. 10 times we're going to press into the hands. This won't lift us up much, just a matter of a couple of inches, and then lower. So how we're building that shoulder strength and the chest strength. Nice inhales to lift, exhales lower. So here's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Press for a little bit in either a little baby cobra or a full cobra if your back's feeling ready for it. Just pause for a good breath or 2, shoulders are relaxed. And stretching the spine long into a nice child pose. Walking the hands off the right edge of the mat. And get those side ribs to stretch really long. Maybe one or both elbows come in trying to touch onto the side of the hip or the side of the knee. Good. Stretch the arms long to walk them through the front, far off to the left side. Feel the length in the side body. Maybe one or both elbows try to slide in. And straighten the arms, walk them back through the center. Resting down, let's take 3 more breaths. A moment of playtime. So we'll tuck the toes. Rising up, we lift the knees up, setting the hands down in front of us. Just a normal crow. So the fingers are spreading wide. That creates a good solid base. I like to plant my hands about shoulder distance apart. And then what I do is I lift my hips up, set the knees onto the triceps. And from here, start playing with that chaturanga position, trying to bend the elbows a little bit. We gaze forward. That tends to prevent us from falling forward. And maybe one set of toes lifts for a little while, maybe both. Just a couple of play breaths. Maybe 3 more cycles of breath. Amazing. Go ahead and drop down. Just come to a nice easy kneeling, whether you're sitting on the feet or just higher. And let's work through our wrists. So fingers go down, fingers go up. Let's repeat. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Plant the hands down. Let's take a downward facing dog. Make sure that you press through every fingertip, every knuckle, every joint. What that does is actually kind of lift the base of your palm up so that poses like this are not so much pressure on the wrist. Floating the right leg up to the sky, feel that leg reach. Maybe bend the knees and move the toes slightly behind if that feels better in the hip. And then when we straighten the leg back out, now we send the right foot under and through, planting it in between our hands. Back knee can drop down. We're allowing ourselves to sink forward, getting the hips to open. Walking hands up to the thigh. Make sure that you're still allowing the hips to try to release forward. Just make sure knee never goes past toes, otherwise you're good. And helping the spine to spiral from here, you're either connecting left wrist to open up or trying to slide down to elbow to open up into prayer. Over to the front door side. You got it. So as we're getting closer and closer to side crow, this ability to hook the elbow is one step of it. So knowing that we have the ability to twist here already gives us that indicator, okay, I'm in a pretty good flexibility for it. So now unwind from the twist, let the front leg straighten, and simply drop down a nice hamstring stretch. As this leg comes back, let's head directly up into downward facing dog. Movements encouraged if that feels good. Left leg starts to float, maybe bend the knee if that's more helpful, sitting the toes behind. And lengthening the leg back up. Step left foot in between hands. Back knee can drop down. Already a few low breaths as the hips are sinking forward. It's like one day getting a line from kneecap up to the other kneecap. It's a nice straight long line. Hands can walk up to the thigh. Hips are still relaxing forward. And then we either hook right wrist or slide down to the elbow for the twist. Unwind, straighten the leg, and release over. Okay, this leg comes back. We can either just head up to down dog or take a little flow, especially feeling yourself slowly lower through chaturanga. To a nice back bend. And downward facing dog. At the point when you're ready, start to walk the feet forward in a standing forward fold. Head releasing heavy. If feet are wider than hips, heel toe them to hip distance apart. Next inhale allows us to circle to the side, stretching up, arching back. Hands is up at the heart. Side body stretch as we drop the right hand to the right thigh. Left hand circles up and over. Really be with the body. How deep is this able to go while still being able to breathe? Good inhale. And exhale, rise. Slowly lift it out. And rise. Hands come to the heart. We start to sit back like a chair. And as we're here, we're going to try to hook left elbow to right thigh. Make sure knees are not falling into one another. They're nice, staying hip distance wide. As we lift up from that, our hands starting at the heart, we're still sitting in the chair. Try to lift the left heel, getting it closer to the glute. And then it's almost like a drinking bird. We're starting to tilt that foot behind us, tilting head forward. At any point, if you need to drop hands down, that's beautiful. We'll all eventually drop hands down and straighten the leg up like it's going to be split. Hands back at the heart as the leg goes heavy, eventually landing at the back of the mat. Sweep up to the sky. Warrior one facing forward still. Clasping hands behind the back. Bow forward as we pull the arms into a nice shoulder stretch. Rising torso up. Try to keep the arm clasp from behind. See if you can come back forward to balance over the front foot with the arm clasp from behind. Another beautiful inhale to lift. Exhale, drop hands, drop foot. We're in that forward fold, hip distance wide. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Sitting back like we're about to go into a chair. Hooking right elbow. And rise. Just try to lift up the right heel, bringing it closer to the glute. And we tilt forward like we're a drinking bird. At some point, we'll all drop our hands down. If you like to play with the balance a few more breaths, that's beautiful. When the hands go down, try to straighten the leg upward into standing split. And then the hands to heart, leg heavy, softly land. Warrior one, arm sweep up. Good. Hands clasped behind our back. We pull them away as we bow forward. Torso rises up, keep the clasp. Trying to launch back forward onto front leg with the balance. Another good inhale. Exhale, everything releases down. Inhale, sliding the hands up the shins, half lift. Exhale, hands slide down. Step walker jump to plank. You can take child pose, down dog, or the flow. Three-legged dog, right leg floats. Send the right knee to the right tricep. And float it back up. Knee to nose. Knee to left elbow. Pause. Straighten the leg to the side. It's like a supported side plank. See if the left hand can float upward. Good, left hand down. Lower gently onto the side of that hip. Good. So the leg's straight, it can be off to the side, it can be slightly lower. It goes deeper if you can get it slightly higher. But essentially we're trying to set up in a nice twist for the torso as we lower down onto elbows. So get that spine to spiral however much it will. Continuing it to encourage it to be there, even in a restful place. Okay, as we work back up onto hands, we let this right knee bend, send it onto the mat, and then pick up the hips to shift it into a nice pigeon pose. There may be the possibility of dropping back to elbows. Maybe even threading left shoulder onto the ground for a twist, only if that feels good. Left one, yep. Beautiful. Unwind. As we send this right leg back, we're we're going to have that opportunity again. You can take a child pose, you can go straight to down dog, or you can add that flow, personal preference. Okay, left toes float up to the sky, three-legged dog, left knee to left tricep, and return. Knee to nose, return, knee under to the right, extend the leg, maybe right arm can float. Hand down, gently set the side of the hip down, bringing the legs as straight as we can into whatever angle we can, and then completely spiral the spine, trying to drop down to elbows. Coming up onto hands, the left knee bends, and then onto the mat for pigeon. Maybe a sleeping pigeon resting on elbows. Maybe right shoulder tries to thread under and through for a moment. Feeling every breath, feeling present with the body. Another deep inhale. And exhale, let's work our way up onto hands. Same options, child pose, down dog. Maybe a little flow. Personal preference. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then gently lower to knees. Feel free to watch. Here's where we're gonna start playing with side crow. There's 2 ways to do side crow. The deeper flexibility way is the one that I'm gonna head into first. That one is if you can get both elbows to touch. So that would be hip and the side of the knee. If this is the case, then it's very similar to the other crow. Our shoulders are, our hands are about shoulder distance apart, fingers spread wide. And you would begin to rock your weight onto the elbows and start to play with maybe lifting the toes up for moments. The other variation is if you can only connect one elbow. Then the other hand is placed at about a 90-degree angle, and then it's the arm strength that holds you into it like a chaturanga. So you've got 2 ways to play with it. For me, this one's easier because it's more of a balance thing instead of a strength thing. But a lot of people who can't get the elbow to touch will use the strength version, just kind of playing with this nice little tilt. Let's come up onto our toes. Feel free to, yeah. If you need to just go into like cobbler pose and just do some stretches instead, that's beautiful. Let's walk our hands off to, let's start with the left side. See if there's good there. So you got an elbow connection. So then your other hand is gonna turn it a 90-degree angle, just like that palm flat. Yep. And then you're gonna start just lifting your hips up, setting your weight onto the elbow. That's it. And that's a good prep. So eventually maybe the top set of toes lifts, maybe the bottom set. Beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead and unwind. Good. You need to shake your hands or straighten your legs for a moment. Good. You go back to the toe spot. It's a funky one. Yeah, no need to put any pressure. Good. So you got your elbow by the knee. The other one turns to that 90-degree angle. Yep. Start to bring your weight up. Good. And it looks like the others. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Starting to lift one set of toes. Good. Beautiful. And when you're ready, go ahead and release. Maybe another little straight leg. Wiggle the wrist. Good, good. So the point that you're at, it looks like you've got the twist enough to get one. And so then it's just that strength. Sometimes when I'm at home, I'll get a bunch of pillows around me just because sometimes it's just that trusting that I'm not gonna fall and hit my face on the ground. And so that's a good place to play with. But you got the flexibility to get it there. And so then it's just playing with trusting essentially at this point, just trying to get. And I would go, the further away you go, honestly, the easier it is. So if I'm pretty like this, it's way easier than if it's super close. Yeah. So like I might start off like this, but then as I start to rock my weight, I might step it super wide. Yeah. Yep. That's it. And the body might be about where it's at today. That's fine. Good work, good work. Let's go ahead and come all the way down to sit. And you'll probably notice one side is stronger than the other side. So for me, as I was tilting to this side, I felt much more control than as I was going to this side. So you'll just kind of notice in your body, yep, we got a couple of places to play with for sure. Let's just take a nice little cobbler for a moment. Especially let the head just rock left and right. Reconnecting to any sort of presence. So sometimes that presence is the presence to say, no, this isn't the pose for me today. And that is really good. That's vulnerable to get to that space where you're comfortable enough to say that. And other times it's like, you're like right at the edge of a pose. And so it's that vulnerability to like, just try it and you might fail and you might succeed and you never know. There's always a special day when you take off of a new pose and it's like, wow, that was amazing. So it's just playing with it. As we start to sit back up, let's let the legs go wide. Just gently walk the hands forward. Start walking the hands toward the right leg, getting that nice deep stretch on the right side. And then all the way onto the second side. Walking back through the center, and then back in. Right hand goes to the inside of right leg. It might just be hand. You might be able to work down to elbow, however deep you can go. Set that there, and then push into the connection of the thigh to help peel this left shoulder back, and then reach left arm over. Left arm floats, and then the torso floats. Left hand down, maybe left elbow down. Either way, push your connection into that left side to peel the right shoulder back, and then right arm reaches. Right arm floats, torso floats. Come for a moment into just a simple cross leg. So from here, helping our wrists out, take a stop sign with the right hand. Left hand pulls all the fingers and the thumb back. And as you release, the fingers go down, pull back that way. Releasing might be opening and closing, rolling, or shaking the wrist out, whatever feels best. Good. Left hand stop sign, Pull back fingers and thumb. And go down, pull back that way. Release, maybe open and close, circles or shakes. Good, arms float up to the sky, inhale. Exhale, let's take a twist over toward the back door side. Inhale up. Exhale, second direction. Inhale up. And as we head onto our backs now, try to use your core, building that strength as we go. And once we get settled down, if there's any last stretches our body would love to take just to feel complete, feel free to take any of those last things. This could be for the spine, it could be for the hips, or maybe other areas like the shoulders. Whatever the kindest thing we can do for our body is, let's take that pose. At some point you'll feel ready for Shavasana. So during Shavasana, when you get there, the idea is to be as present with now as possible. So if something pops up into your mind, either from the past or from the future, think of that thought as a cloud. Watch the cloud come in, watch the cloud go, and then be back with the now. Just observing. Begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Start to introduce little movements back to the body. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing. Eventually take a nice fetal position to one side. Only rising up when you feel ready. Hands joining to the heart when you are up. And here we acknowledge that life is a journey. There is no destination. And that's why yoga is so beautiful, because our body and our mind and our emotions are different every time we come to the mat. So it's a whole new experience for us at each and every time. And so we honor and we acknowledge ourselves for showing up today for ourselves on this journey, and for being present with our experiences, our learnings, our growth that happened today. And so with this step in our journey coming to a completion, this hour that we got to share together, let's wrap up this wonderful time with the sound of Om. Taking a deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.